We've reached the end of April, so now it's time to rank all 4 April 2025 releases that I saw from worst to best. And in last place is Minecraft, which is probably a hot take because this movie has been breaking records, but in my opinion, this movie was a mess. The question, how do you make a successful, charming movie using an IP that has no story to begin with, was answered with the Lego Movie. And this is the Lego Movie if it were bad. When Jared Hess is the writer in addition to the director, the films turned out pretty good. Unfortunately, Hess is not the writer. This movie feels like a bunch of 40-somethings trying way too hard to appeal to the kids of today. The dialogue consists of, "First we mine, and then we craft. Minecraft!" And these lines are said without any sense of self-awareness or making a movie where the audience is in on the joke. Indeed, it seems like, just like the Lego Movie, making a movie about a property that you can do anything with should be a logical choice. Unfortunately, this movie lacks what the Lego Movie had: heart, humor, and charm. Hess's trademark is movies about nerdy misfits who are socially awkward but are charming. Napoleon Dynamite isn't so much of a plot-driven movie, but it works because the main character is relatable and charming. Here, none of the characters are memorable. Even Jack Black, who has worked with Hess before and made Nacho Libre some of Hess's best work, and brought a fun performance to previous video game movie Mario, just plays essentially a human version of Poe the Panda. Except, unlike Poe, Black's character has no growth. In fact, none of these characters have any growth. They just exist to move the plot forward without giving the audience any reason to care about them. The plot, and I use that word generously and very loosely here, is thin and has no flow. The jokes have no natural build-up or segue, and it's hard to pinpoint exactly who the main character of the film is or what the end goal is. This is a film that has no idea who it's for. The plot isn't interesting enough to keep the kids or adults engaged, and the humor is too childish for the adults, while at the same time not hitting the right notes for the kids either. A child at my screening tripped and fell as he was running during the movie, and that moment was more entertaining than this film, and I'm sure any pain he felt was nothing compared to having to sit through this film. In Minecraft, you need to have a foundation to build something, and this film has no foundation, so therefore it all falls apart. This is a film that should be buried in the netherworld. It's a film for pretty much nobody, and you can justifiably skip it. Number 3, The Amateur. Taken, John Wick, the Bourne series, these are all action films that are a male hero fantasy. What man in his 40s hasn't thought of what he'd do in the hypothetical situation of his wife or daughter being harmed? What lengths would he go to? Indeed, The Amateur is one of these films, but unlike the Liam Neesons or Keanu Reeves of the action world, our hero does not have a particular set of skills. At least, not action skills. Our hero's greatest weapon is his mind. This is like the Hitman games where the player sets elaborate traps to eliminate the targets. There are some fun kills in this movie, and it does play with the action hero trope as the main character cannot hit the broadside of a barn. There's one particularly funny scene where he has to use YouTube to learn how to pick a lock. The film has both a melee action and a great conspiracy thriller plot. While the film's plot can be a bit paint by numbers at points, the main character is interesting enough the film is still engaging. It's got a bit of everything: action, revenge, romance, conspiracy. If you're looking for a fun action movie to check out, this is worth it. Number 2, Drop. Who would have thought you could make memes creepy? Drop is a highly original thriller that has excitement, mystery, a good message, and just a bit of humor sprinkled in for good measure. The main character is a woman who's gotten out of an abusive relationship, but still has trauma. The film has commentary on abuse victims and overcoming abuse and trauma. Despite its serious themes, the film also manages to sprinkle some light humor in on occasion to ease the tension. Characters like the main character's waiter provide some awkwardly funny dialogue. Because the film is a chamber piece, a film where the characters are in one location, the film is high tension and high stakes. The film's pacing never falters. It actually manages to get more exciting as it goes on. This, to me, felt like an Agatha Christie story set in modern day, and the film is scary because it's realistic. With almost everyone's addiction to social media and our phones, the film is plausible and you feel like it could happen to you, which is why it's effective. That being said, at times the film does require you to suspend your disbelief, as there are a couple of plot conveniences and contrivances that exist to move the plot forward. But the main character is fantastically written. She's a woman who's willing to do anything to protect her kids and go full mama bear. It's an empowering movie. I hope the movie inspires people who are in similar situations to finally speak out and get out. If this film can save just one life, it's worth it. This is a tight, well-paced, exciting thriller mystery, and it's definitely worth checking out. And number 1 is The Legend of Ochi. This is a family film released by A24, which is something I never thought I'd say. And I hope this movie does well, because A24 needs to make more family movies, especially when they're this well done. This movie feels very much in line with family films of the 80s, specifically E.T., Dark Crystal, and Labyrinth. If I hadn't seen Willem Dafoe and Finn Wolfhard in other movies, and you told me that this was some obscure movie from the 1980s that somehow got lost and then just recently found, I'd totally believe you. It's not 80s throwback in the sense that it has 80s references everywhere, or by the fact that it has Finn Wolfhard, because it actually feels like its own world, not tied to a specific time period. But at the same time, there's no modern technology. And they gotta praise the practical effects in this movie. They are Jim Henson level impressive. The creature in this movie is sort of a mix of E.T., Grogu, and a Mogwai. He's adorable and funny. There's some good world building and lore around the creatures in this movie. Now, plot-wise, it does borrow very heavily from How to Train Your Dragon and E.T., but at the same time, it has enough of its own identity. I only have two real criticisms with the film. One, there is unfortunately some mouth swearing that was unneeded, because the rest of the movie is really cute and sweet. And as good as Willem Dafoe is, I don't know what was up with the accent he chose to do in this movie. Half the time, I couldn't understand what he was saying. I was surprised to see that the Russo brothers were executive producers on this. After the disaster that was the Electric State, this almost seems like an apology, because you can tell the people behind this really put a lot of thought, effort, heart, and passion into this. I wouldn't say this is a movie for super little kids, not because of any content concerns, simply because it probably won't hold their attention. I'd say 10 and up. Like, that's the crowd that's perfect for this movie. And if you're someone who grew up with films like E.T., you'll probably enjoy it too. There you have it. There's my ranking of the April movies that I saw. Share yours in the comments, and I'll see you next time.